Hey, welcome to Daily Bravo Drama. In this audio, we'll be talking about Gina Keogh's heartbreaking cancer update, Marcellus Wiley having to surrender his guns in a fierce legal battle, Amanda Batula's shocking intimacy revelation, some really intense political crossfire with Wes Wilson and Kelly Dodd, and, a classic $500 Shannon Beador restaurant meltdown.
There is a lot to get through today.
Hey, this is Delilah.
Hey, this is Fahi.
Welcome to Reality TV Audio Podcast, where we break down the latest in reality TV every day.
And today we really have a massive stack of sources on the table.
We really do. And, I think when you sit down to watch these shows, we're all looking for that escapism, right? Like the heady drama, the fun. But in this audio, we're looking at the exact moment when that on-screen persona just violently collides with stark off-screen reality.
Right, because the people providing our entertainment are living through severe life-altering crises. I mean, we're covering everything from devastating medical emergencies to being caught in the vicious political crosshairs of a polarized audience.
Yeah, and we'll cover everything coming up in this audio, but I think we really have to start with the heaviest, most viral news first, which is the update out of Orange County regarding Real Housewives of Orange County alum Gina Keogh.
Yeah, it's just profoundly heartbreaking.
It really is. Her daughter, Cara Keogh Bosworth, shared that Gina is currently unable to speak due to squamous cell carcinoma of the tongue.
Oh, man.
And Cara, she didn't sugarcoat this reality at all. She detailed that the pain is just absolute brutality, mostly because of the radiation mucus. Gina actually has to spit into tissues all day long just to manage.
Which is just awful.
Yeah, Cara even gave this sort of dark humor shout out to a brand called Blow Tissues for sending them product, saying they had never needed a delivery more.
Honestly, what is genuinely terrifying about Gina's situation is just the trajectory of how this unfolded, because it started as something so entirely mundane, like something any of us could experience. For nearly a year, Gina just thought a tooth was rubbing awkwardly against her tongue. She went to the dentist multiple times to have the tooth filed down.
Which, that is the most human response possible. If you feel a rough spot in your mouth, your brain doesn't immediately jump to, like, a life-threatening illness.
Exactly. You assume a simple structural issue. But a biopsy eventually confirmed the cancer, and from there, the escalation was just rapid and aggressive.
Wow.
What they hoped would be a single contained surgery turned into a massive ordeal. The cancer had spread, so they had to remove lymph nodes, followed by 5 relentless weeks of chemotherapy, radiation, and immunotherapy.
And the physical toll is compounding, right?
Yeah.
Because swallowing even tiny bites of food is agonizing for her. So she's facing severe malnourishment.
Yeah, they were scheduled to put in a G-tube, a feeding tube directly into the stomach to help her get basic nutrition, but even that is on hold right now.
Wait, why is it on hold?
Well, the medical complications just keep layering. During treatment, they uncovered a DVT, which is a serious blood clot in her leg. And on top of that, a fever spiked, signaling an active infection. So the medical team had to completely pause the chemo and the radiation.
Oh, my God.
And they had to delay the G-tube surgery until the infection clears. It is an excruciating holding pattern.
Though Cara did note, with that, incredibly resilient family humor they have, that they need to get the surgery done quickly so a hangry Gina doesn't murder someone.
I love that. You have to find a shred of humor in the abyss or it just consumes you.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, while the Key family is fighting this grueling medical battle, there is another type of really rigid institutional battle playing out elsewhere in the franchise.
Yeah.
Let's look at the legal fallout between Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum Anne Marie Wiley and her estranged husband, Marcellus Wiley.
Yeah, this situation really illustrates how fast the glossy veneer of a reality TV marriage can just disintegrate into cold, heavily documented legal parameters.
According to recent court filings, Marcellus was required to surrender his Glock 9mm to the LAPD. And this is the direct result of a temporary restraining order that Anne Marie filed, following an altercation that led to his arrest at a hotel in Florida.
Right.
The paperwork even notes that Marcellus couldn't physically retrieve the firearm from their marital bedroom himself because the parameters of the restraining order strictly forbade him from entering the space.
And that level of legal rigidity completely rewrites how a family functions, especially, when children are involved.
Yeah, they have 3 kids.
Exactly. They have a temporary parenting plan in place running through early September, and the logistics are staggering. Marcellus gets visitation on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Okay.
But for those Saturday handoffs at the marital home, the court mandated that he must stay inside his vehicle for the exchanges. He has to remain a minimum of 100 yards away from Emery at all times.
Imagine trying to co-parent your children while measuring the physical distance between you and your spouse in football fields. I mean, it's wild. But we do need to clearly state that Marcellus has vehemently denied all the allegations against him.
Yes, absolutely.
Anne-Marie has alleged sexual assault as well as physical and emotional abuse. But Marcellus went on the record firmly stating he has never forced, coerced, or sexually assaulted his wife. He claims the absolute hardest part of this entire ordeal is losing contact with his kids.
The contrast between the public accusations and the private reality there is just jarring. And, this isn't an isolated incident of intense legal scrutiny piercing the Bravo bubble right now.
Not at all. We've got Real Housewives of Miami star Dr. Lenny Hochstein facing 3 new cosmetic surgery malpractice lawsuits.
The boob god himself.
Right. Suddenly, the medical competence behind the persona is being legally challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Erica Jane from Beverly Hills, who is fighting an $18 million lawsuit with this wild Secret Service twist.
Wait, yeah. Designer Chris Salley is alleging that Erica and Tom Girardi essentially weaponized their connections to bribe Secret Service agents to maliciously prosecute him for credit card fraud.
It's insane. We have federal agencies, malpractice claims, and strict custody restraining orders all bleeding into shows that are ostensibly about, like, dinner parties and fashion.
Which really makes you think about how legal dissolution instantly becomes emotional content. When the legal foundation of a marriage cracks, the emotional fallout is immediately thrust into the public arena for us to consume.
Like Amanda Batula and Kyle Cooke on Summer House.
Oh, their dynamic during the Summer House. And the City Reunion was a masterclass in this exact phenomenon. Amanda didn't just accuse Kyle of cheating during their 4-year marriage, she completely dismantled the illusion of their intimacy.
The specificity was what caught everyone off guard. She told the world that they only had sex 3 times over the course of their entire 4-year marriage. 3 times.
That is just staggering.
But what fascinated me wasn't just the revelation, it was the cast's reaction to her behavior afterward. Danielle Oliveira actually called Amanda diabolical for going on dates with their co-star Wes Wilson.
Yeah, that was a strong word to use.
I mean, I have to ask you, is it genuinely diabolical to date someone new? Or is that just the most natural human rebound imaginable when you were escaping a 4-year marriage devoid of intimacy?
Well, you're hitting on the core tension of reality TV ethics versus real-world empathy. Inside the ecosystem of the show, they prioritize cast loyalty, right? The timeline of filming, how things look on camera.
Right, the unwritten rules.
Exactly. To Danielle, dating a co-star right after a split breaks the rules of the house. But to you, sitting at home observing a deeply lonely, sexless marriage, Amanda's desire to feel wanted makes complete psychological sense.
And the romantic web inside this Bravo ecosystem is incredibly dense. They almost never date outside the reality TV panopticon because normal people just don't understand the pressure cooker. Which brings us to Salley Carson.
Salley is the perfect example of how interconnected these casts are. During an Instagram Q&A, she dropped heavy hints that she might be in love with Kyle Cooke.
Of course she did.
And she offered a very candid look at her own psychology, admitting she's dealing with an anxious attachment style while navigating dating in her 30s.
And she's navigating a very specific dating pool. In that same Q&A, someone asked her to play Marry, Shag, Kill with 3 Bravo men, Gaston Rojas, who is Taylor Ann Green's ex, Thomas Ravenel, and Wes Wilson.
And her answer?
She chose to kill all 3.
It's a hilarious dismissal, but it also highlights how they constantly orbit the same small group of people. Because even when Salley tried to date slightly outside the Bravo sphere, it turned into total chaos.
Utter chaos. She ventured over to the McBee Dynasty universe to visit Stephen McBee Jr. in Missouri. And Salley described this trip as an absolute disaster.
Yes. The details are incredible. Lala Kent had pointed out on her podcast that Stephen is constantly wearing hats in his Instagram photos.
And Salley confirmed that he was doing this because he was prepping to get hair plugs. I mean, the sheer vanity maintenance required to be a male reality star is a whole other deep dive for another day.
Seriously. But beyond the hair plugs, the reality of the trip was deeply uncomfortable for Salley. She flew out to see him, felt completely terrified by the dynamic, and wanted to leave immediately.
And her rescue mission is the most reality TV thing ever. Who comes riding in to save her? Southern Charm's Craig Conover.
Naturally.
He just coincidentally happened to be in Missouri. He sees the distress, tells her, let's get you out of here, and literally helps her escape. It's like the Bravo Avengers assembling in the Midwest.
It really is. And hey, midway through here, I just want to throw in a quick fun fact about that. Craig Conover actually has a well-documented history of just randomly showing up in other Bravo star cities and becoming part of their off-camera drama. He's like the Forrest Gump of Bravo.
He really is, the connective tissue of the network. But, notice what happens when these private, messy dating moments become public. The stars don't just have to manage their relationships, they have to manage their reputations.
Because the fans and their own castmates ruthlessly police their behavior.
The court of public scrutiny is always in session. Take Kristen Dout's recent commentary on Danny Bucco. Kristen went on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast and openly admitted she was appalled by how Danny treated his wife, Nia, during this past season of The Valley.
This is such a fascinating study in cognitive dissonance for a reality star. Because on camera, Kristen was a fierce defender of Danny and Nia's marriage. She shielded them from attacks by Lala Kent and Zach Wickham.
Right, she argued that Nia's blind defense of Danny is exactly how a married couple with small kids should operate.
But off camera, she is pulling the fire alarm.
Privately, she had to sit Danny down and give him a harsh reality check. She told him that his alcohol consumption triggers this obnoxious extraness that she absolutely cannot condone.
And Danny's attempt to defend his reputation at the reunion was a masterclass in deflection. Instead of addressing the behavior, he tried to validate himself by name-dropping actor Seth Rogen as a fan of the show.
Which Lala Kent was visibly unimpressed by. It's such a bizarre fame tactic. Like, yes, I may have yelled at my wife, but a famous celebrity watches our show, so it validates my existence. It just completely bypasses actual accountability.
Accountability in this space is tricky because the evidence is always public, or at least the cast members try to make it public.
Which brings us to the ultimate neighborhood feud in Atlanta between Ashley Byram and Angela Oakley. Ashley is currently fighting off rumors that her husband, George, had an affair with Shemaya Morton.
And Ashley isn't just releasing a polite statement denying the rumor.
No, she is weaponizing her smart home. It's the ultimate receipts era. Ashley brought Ring doorbell footage from Halloween night to the public square, claiming it proves Angela came to her house right before filming, specifically to gauge her reaction to this manufactured storyline.
So wild. Meanwhile, Angela counters by claiming she hired an actual private investigator who vindicated her actions.
To which Ashley delivered an incredibly precise surgical clapback. She suggested that instead of hiring a PI, Angela should have hired a PR firm. And she literally tagged a PR firm in the post.
It is reputation management as blood sport. But, the scrutiny isn't always about petty, manufactured feuds. Sometimes the audience decides to police deeply complex, traumatic, personal choices.
This is where the scrutiny gets really dark. Look at Taylor Frankie Paul from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. She recently posted a video showing that she kept a cherished letter from her ex, Dakota.
And the fan backlash was immediate and intense.
The comment section turned into a moralizing jury, aggressively questioning why she would save a memento from an alleged abuser.
The audience demands perfect victims. They expect a clean, cinematic break from a toxic relationship.
But that ignores the entire psychology of trauma bonding. I mean, human emotions, especially grief and the complicated feelings surrounding abusive relationships, they are not linear. You can logically know someone is terrible for you, yet still mourn the good moments or the person you thought they were.
Right.
By demanding she throw away the letter, the fans are projecting their own need for a simple narrative onto her very messy, real-life trauma.
And that demand for a simple, pure narrative extends far beyond interpersonal relationships. It bleeds directly into ideology. The audience doesn't just want moral purity, they demand political purity.
Okay, and before we unpack this next layer, let's establish a really crucial baseline here for you listening. We are looking at this phenomenon purely from a sociological standpoint.
Yeah.
We are observing how the audience demands political alignment from these stars, and we are strictly reporting on the specific crossfire that results.
Exactly. We are not taking any political sides, nor are we endorsing any of these viewpoints ourselves. We are just examining the blast radius when reality TV meets modern politics.
And the blast radius is massive. Consider West Wilson from Summer House. He recently took to TikTok to state that transgender athletes in women's sports is a borderline non-existent issue.
Right.
He claimed that right-wing commentators have convinced the public it is a massive threat as a deliberate strategy to isolate the LGBTQ community and distract from other national issues.
Well, the conservative media response was instantaneous. Toomey Lahren addressed West directly on The Weekend Show and on X. She labeled him a left-wing loser, argued that preserving women's sports is simply the decent thing to do, and told him to take notes from athletes like Sophie Cunningham.
She even threw in a critique of his reality TV performance, claiming his views ruined Summer House.
It really highlights the double bind these public figures are in. The audience demands absolute authenticity. They want to know who you really are, but in our current climate, your politics are viewed as the ultimate proxy for your character.
It's like navigating a corporate PR crisis. But instead of answering to a board of directors, your boss is millions of anonymous commenters who can fire you with a hashtag. If you stay silent, you're accused of being complicit. If you speak up, you alienate half your audience.
Look at RHOC alum Kelly Dodd and her recent explosion with Dr. Divya Srinivasa.
Dr. Divya publicly called Kelly a spiraling racist, which prompted Kelly to lay out a highly specific, itemized defense of her political and social stances.
Yeah, Kelly explicitly denied being Islamophobic, transphobic, or racist.
She detailed that she has trans friends, but she draws a hard line against trans women competing in women's sports and against youth transition surgeries. And regarding the Islamophobia accusation, she stated she isn't Islamophobic, but is strictly against Sharia law, specifically citing the oppression and beating of women in Iran.
And sometimes, stars don't even volunteer their opinions. They just have to aggressively defend against rumors. Emily Simpson recently had to take to threads to shut down a rumor that she was a donor to Donald Trump.
The user labeled her a MAGA gal, and Emily firmly rejected the label. She stated that she holds strong values that make her inherently anti-MAGA, calling the rumor entirely fake.
It proves that there is no safe harbor. You either volunteer your stance and take the hits, or the internet assigns you a stance, and you spend your energy fighting a ghost. Do reality stars owe their audience a political stance, or does weighing in just inevitably alienate half their viewers?
It is exhausting just to analyze, let alone live through.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why we need to recalibrate here. After analyzing cancer battles, custody restraining orders, trauma bonds, and national political crossfire, we need a palate cleanser.
Yes, please.
We need to return to the foundational bedrock of the Bravo empire. Give me the lowest stakes imaginable.
Let's talk about Shannon Beador and a $514 dinner tab at The Quiet Woman.
Oh, thank you. The Quiet Woman. The scene of so many iconic Orange County meltdowns. So, Tamara Judge recently claimed on a podcast that Shannon had an absolute fit at the restaurant because the staff failed to comp a $514 bill.
Shannon had brought Andy Cohen and the rest of the cast there for dinner.
And Tamara alleged that Shannon felt she shouldn't have to pay because she single-handedly put this restaurant on the map.
Well, Shannon immediately went on a competing podcast, hate to break it to ya, to defend her honor. She completely denied having a full meltdown, calling Tamara's account wildly exaggerated.
However, she did admit that the bill bothered her. She argued that she coordinated this dinner as a massive promotional opportunity for the venue by bringing the executive producer of the network. She felt it should have been figured out beforehand because being handed a bill in front of Andy was embarrassing.
She was so offended, she announced she's taking a break from the restaurant entirely.
I mean, is there such a thing as a free dinner when you're a reality star? Or is expecting to be comped just a recipe for public embarrassment?
Well, the best part of this is that Andy Cohen chimed in on his radio show and completely deflated the drama. He confirmed that the bill was brought to him, he happily paid it, and he left a massive tip because the staff was wonderful.
But this fight actually reveals the fascinating, bizarre economics of being a reality star. Your primary currency is your visibility. To Shannon, bringing Bravo cameras to a local business is a highly valuable transaction of free advertising. But to the restaurant staff working a busy shift, they just see a table that consumed over $500 worth of inventory.
It perfectly encapsulates the surreal duality we've been tracking today.
It really does. Think about the emotional whiplash required to survive this career. In the span of a single month, a reality star might have to process a life-altering cancer diagnosis, sit in a car 100 yards away from their ex-spouse just to see their children, defend their political ideology to millions of angry strangers, and then summon the energy to feud over a dinner bill at a local tavern.
All while making sure the lighting is good and the microphones are on, they navigate devastating real-world issues while fueling petty restaurant feuds for our entertainment.
Which leaves us with something I really want you to think about. As reality TV continues to demand more authenticity, what is the long-term psychological toll on a person when their real-life tragedies are consumed as lightly as their dinner tab meltdowns? Where is the line between human empathy and viewer entitlement.
It's a reckoning that both the networks and the audience are going to have to face eventually.
Something to mull over the next time you hear that Bravo intro music. And real quick, before we sign off, make sure you join us for our next audio, because we are unpacking a massive leaked text thread that is going to completely upend the next season of New Jersey. You definitely do not want to miss that.
It is going to be wild.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the reality behind the television, and we'll catch you next time.